Welcome to this Spirit Gathering teleconference. Today is December 19th, 2012, and my name is Amy Skezas. Our topic is a 7 Rays celebration and memorial service for Amy Keyes and Dorothy Blackmere, the founders of Tzaddi. I'm the current leader of this metaphysical faith community, and I am so glad that you have joined us. You might hear my cat in the background. Sorry. We are recording this call so that people who could not be here tonight can listen in. Please press *6 or your phone's mute button to mute your line to help keep the line quiet. Hi, welcome. Thanks for joining us. Who's joined the call?
Yes, this is Mary Lou Remus.
Hi, Mary Lou. Welcome.
Thank you. Sorry I'm a little late.
Oh, that's okay. We're just muting the line to help keep the call line quiet because there are so many people. You can do that either by pressing *6 or your phone's mute button. Later there'll be some time for sharing, but when it's just one person talking, it's much quieter if we mute our lines.
Okay.
So thank you. All right, so we're going to begin with this welcome part, and we'll sort of set the space together with an invocation. So let's take a moment now to transition into our communion together, to get settled, to center ourselves, to let go of the events of this day, and to begin to enter the deeper sacred space within ourselves. Connecting with the light, the divine light in your heart and in the hearts of all those who are present at every level. Now let us imagine that we are joining together, sacred heart to sacred heart, with every other person on this call right now. And that we are joining together, sacred heart to sacred heart, with everyone who will listen in later to this recording. Hi, welcome. Who's just joined us?
Bonnie Bilas, hi.
Hi, Bonnie. Welcome.
Hi. Thank you.
Just getting started. Go ahead and mute your line.
Got it.
*6 or mute. Now let us set our intentions. May we deepen our connection with the divine. May this sharing serve each of us on our spiritual journey. May it serve our communities and our planet. So it is. Tonight's program has several different parts: an introduction, a ceremony, a remembrance circle, and a closing. During this gathering, Sally will ring a small chime every 5 minutes or so that you can have a way to mark the time passing with what you're hearing. Sally, is that something you can do? You'll need to unmute.
Hi, I'm unmuted. Yes, I have a clock that does not have a precise second hand.
That's fine. Just, ballpark it about every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And could you just ring that chime now so everybody can hear the sound? Thanks, Sally. You might want to put it a little closer to the phone.
Better?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay.
That's a nice, gentle way that we can mark the time passing, and that helps when people are speaking so that they remember to leave others a turn, some space and time for others to have a turn. And it helps in a metaphysical way to remember that in this ordinary time-space reality, time passes and change happens. Think of each ringing of the chime as a reminder that our earthly life is finite. Our time together is finite. In light of this, you might ask yourself, what's the highest path for me to follow in the time and space that we have remaining together? Usually our monthly spirit gathering lasts 1 hour, but tonight, because of the memorial remembrances, we might go longer. If you need to leave early, please feel free to hang up. Thank you for being here. Our program tonight has a few different phases, and first I'll speak about the 7 rays and then lead that ceremony. Sue was going to do it, Reverend Dr. Sue Roweeder, but she has laryngitis, a throat infection, a sinus infection, so I'm going to step up to that and do that tonight. And after that ceremony, we'll rest together in silence for just a little while and then move into a circle space to share remembrances and then have our closing. Does anybody have any questions? If you do, you'll have to unmute. Press unmute. Okay. So, as an introduction, and I think that there are some people on this call who know actually a lot more about this than I do, but I'll just give it my best shot. The 7 rays is a concept that has appeared in several religions and esoteric philosophies since at least 600 years before Christ in both the West and in India. In the West, it can be seen in early Western mystical traditions and mystery traditions such as Gnosticism, and the Romans in their Mithraic mysteries, in texts and iconic art of the Catholic Church as early as the Byzantine era, which was 285 to 1461 AD. For example, 7 rays of light appeared to Saint Norbert, who lived in Germany from 1080 to 1134, in a vision surrounding the head of Jesus and pilgrims who came to him from many different countries. In India, the concept has been a part of Hindu religious philosophy and scripture, at least since the Vishnu Purana, which dates from the era of oral tradition of the Vedas, the oldest scriptures in Hinduism, and this particular scripture was written down sometime between 150 BC and 400 AD. Beginning in the late 19th century, the 7 rays appeared in a modified and elaborated form in the teachings of Theosophy, presented first by Madame Blavatsky, and that concept was further developed in the late 19th and early 20th centuries in the writings of Theosophists. And as the New Age movement of the mid to late 20th century developed, the 7 rays concept appeared as an element of metaphysical healing methods, such as Reiki and other modalities, and in esoteric astrology. So different groups with different perspectives perceive the 7 rays in different ways. Tzaddi was co-founded in California in 1964 as a metaphysical spiritual organization that welcomes and supports people in experiencing the infinite, loving, co-creative presence of the divine. Tzaddi founders Amy Keyes and Dorothy Blackmere had a revelation of the 7 rays, and they co-created this meditation ceremony, which is one of their signature pieces of ceremony, one of their legacies to us. The form of this particular 7 rays ceremony is one of the celebration of the blessings of God, and the language of the ceremony reflects Amy and Dorothy's path of metaphysics, their immersion in Christ consciousness, and their consistent teaching, mirroring that of Jesus and other great spiritual leaders, that the divine is the source of all life and all blessings. I invite you to join in the celebration of blessings with me in remembrance of Amy and Dorothy and in celebration of their legacy. Amy Iola Merritt Keyes, November 17th, 1914 to November 20th, 2012. And Dorothy Jean Blackmare, July 18th, 1936 to February 16th, 2012. I invite you to participate in this ceremony not only by listening with your ears, but also with your heart. I invite you to open all your inner senses so that you are partaking of their legacy at and beyond the level of language, a level which transcends culture and connects us all as a part of the living life of God, the infinite, the merciful, the everlasting, by whatever name you know it. The ceremony uses traditional Christian language referring to Heavenly Father, but feel free to internally, silently use the words that are right for you as we proceed together. I invite you to put your physical body in a comfortable position, one where your spine is erect and your diaphragm is free to move up and down as you breathe. As we proceed, I invite you to imagine that you are lighting candles of energy in your own being or in the window of your home or however you imagine or perceive it. And simultaneously, whatever this means to you, that you are part of a circle with the people who are on this live call and the people who will listen in, the people who have been in Tzaddi in the past, those who are part of it now, and those who are coming in the future. And that Amy and Dorothy, while they have moved on into the light, have left us a part of themselves that we can commune with now. And so in that way, they are part of this circle as well. Good. Now, we'll do the ceremony, the blessing of the 7 rays of light. Dear Heavenly Father, as we light the 7 rays of candlelight for the healing of all conditions throughout the universe, white. We light the first ray of light, white, which is for purity. Divine essence to flow throughout the universe. The Christ light, ever present. Pink. The second ray of light is pink, which is for divine love and peace, keeping our thoughts ever present with Thee. Blue. The third ray of light is blue, which is for spiritual understanding. For God is all that we need. Green. The fourth ray of light is green, which is for divine healing of all conditions and new growth development, and to fulfill and accomplish our mission. gold yellow. The fifth ray of light is gold or yellow, which is for divine protection. The light of God which surrounds us and gives us faith in all things. Ask in His name, and thy will be done. Red. The sixth ray of light is red, which is for the God power to flow throughout the universe, to be ever present in us, to give strength and courage to our leaders, so we shall remain forever free. Purple. The seventh ray of light is purple, which is for divine happiness and supply and healing of all things. We now know all is in the loving care of the Father, and He alone shall supply our needs. And so it is. Now, that was the 7 rays, blessings, as brought forth by Amy Keyes and Dorothy Black. They are the founders of Tzaddi. Just allow that light, those rays to flow through you, circulate, as we move now into the remembrance part of our gathering. Please imagine or perceive again that we are sitting together in a circle. This time the circle is a little bit closer together. And imagine I am holding on to a talking piece, symbolic piece of energy that you might imagine as a beautifully carved rod made of wood or a bright, pure crystal or whatever image comes to your mind. For this part of the program, when you speak, I'd like you to unmute your line and to share from your heart a remembrance of Amy or Dorothy or both, and to keep it orderly and to allow everybody to be heard clearly. Unmute your line, and when you speak, please say your name. This is Amy.
Hey, Alex, they're doing the memorial now. People are speaking about Mom and Grandma.
And say the phrase, I'm picking up the talking stick now, or the talking piece now, so that,
what?
you know, it's imagine that you're physically picking it up. Then you share what you'd like to say, and when you're finished, please say, I'm finished. I'm placing the talking piece back in the center of the circle.
You just call this number at 990-322 pounds. Okay.
Who would like to begin? I'm putting the talking piece back in the center of the circle now for one of you to pick up.
Hello, this is Rayanne Roseman. Can you guys hear me?
Loud and clear.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm Dorothy and Amy's daughter from Colorado. And I think for me, what I remembered is being a child and sitting there watching my mother and grandmother up at the church and doing the 7 rays of light together in the ceremony. They always wore their robes. And my grandma, I remember her saying each one of those, the ones you did. So it just brought me back to being a child again, because I was quite little. I think I was 5 when I watched her do that. So I think that's all I have.
Thanks, Rayanne.
This is Bonnie Vilas. So my experience was with Amy when she ordained me into my ministerial. And she was such a soft and loving woman, very tiny, cute. She came in to do the ceremony for me. And at the end of the ceremony, we were crying, and she came up, and I don't remember exactly her words, but they were so soothing and so lovely, and she just stroked my cheek and welcomed me into the Church of Tzaddi. And as I had learned later on about where the church had it's starting, she, if I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that she was in the town of Olive when it was started in Orange County.
Yep.
And that was in 1965, correct? I believe. And it just so happened I moved to the town of Orange, right on the border of Olive, in 1964. So when I learned about that, it's always been kind of a warm little feeling every time I think about Amy, that I was there just starting, finishing up my high school, my last year in high school, and that we were neighbors that whole time. I wasn't ordained until I was in my 40s, but it always was such a fun feeling, always remembering that I knew where she had her startings for the church. So that's my remembrance of this wonderful, incredibly gifted and powerful woman, and is so tiny that she was, because I must have been a head taller than her. And so she will be dearly missed, and so will Dorothy. So I'm glad that at least I have these remembrances, because they're very important for me. So that's all I wish to say. Thank you.
Hello? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
loud
I
and
can hear
clear.
you.
Just want to make sure you can hear me, right?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay. I don't know if I did that right. Well, this is Fred, Dorothy's son, Amy's grandson. Just kind of what Bonnie was talking about. Olive Street is the street where the church was on. It was in Orange, California. And I think she's right. It was started in 64 through the home. It was 65, 66 is when it was moved to, when they opened up on Olive. And, yeah, that's about right. It was 65, so. But it was on Olive Street.
Thank you for that. This is Bonnie again. Thank you. That was a really sweet town, too. And like I said, it gives me a special memory of your grandmother, of, being so close. And then our paths would cross. It was a sweet town, too. So thank you for that. I'm going to go back on mute.
This is Kim. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yes, loud and clear.
Good. Our Reverend Gregorio was not able to be here with us tonight, but both he and I, when we began our ministry here in America, we, after we were ordained in Tzaddi, we made a visit to Boulder, Colorado to meet the founders of Tzaddi at that time. They were no longer the bishop, I believe. Bishop Marion was the bishop at that time. But they both, Dorothy and Amy, welcomed us into their living room, and we let to talk for maybe an hour, a couple hours. But the presence and the remembrance of the love and the support that we had was just profound. And I forget which husband it was, whether it was of Amy or Dorothy, that formed the structure for the Church of Tzaddi. I believe he was an accountant that she had expressed at that time. And I would also like to honor him at this time for giving the legal foundation for the church and for so many of the wonderful healers that are involved with the church to be able to do their ministry and to offer their gifts of light. And it's because of Amy and Dorothy, of the vision that they had and holding true to that made this all possible. And I'm eternally grateful to her humbleness, to her sweetness, to her love, and her devotion, to the Christ energy. And I'm just very grateful and very honored to have met them and to have known them in person and to be them in spirit right now. And so I just wanted to share that. Thank you. So I'm passing on the talking stick.
This is Rayanne again. So that was my father, Victor, and that was my mother, Dorothy's husband, that you were referring to, of the accountant, just so you know.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Alex Nelson.
Hi, welcome, Alex. Thanks for joining us. We're just sharing remembrances of Amy and Dorothy, the founders of Tzaddi. And if you could mute your phone by pressing *6 or the mute button so that when you're not speaking, the line is quiet. And when you'd like to share, you can just unmute and jump in and then mute it again. Thanks for coming. Well, this is Amy Skezas, and I'd like to share a remembrance. I had not met Amy and Dorothy in person. I was not lucky enough to be ordained in person by them, as you were, Bonnie. I was ordained by them in 1989 on paper and on the inner planes, on the energy fields. And I felt a really strong connection with Tzaddi, and I didn't understand it at a rational left brain level, but it was important to me. And I kept my distance, did my healing work, and did my teaching work, and I was always very glad they were there. and I felt connected on the inner, but I didn't feel like it was about a personality connection. It felt like a stronger spiritual connection. And when I took over as residing bishop, I thought I have to go see them. And I also made a pilgrimage to Colorado, like you, Kim. And they were gracious enough to receive me at their house. And I got to sit with Amy. I had spoken with Amy on the phone and Dorothy on the phone before that, but this was the first time meeting face-to-face. And it was a little strained at first because of the circumstances after their retirement and the way things went for the church, and, you know, who was this person coming to their house and that was going to take over now. And but the longer we kind of looked at each other in the eyes, the more relaxed it got. And I got to spend quite a lot of time that day with Bishop Amy, founding Bishop Amy, and some with Dorothy. And I felt blessed by that contact. And it's very rare that I have such a strong feeling of another person having that much light, spiritual light. And after that meeting, as I took up my responsibilities to be the leader of this faith community, I called Dorothy on the phone a lot. And I got to know Dorothy. Amy was ill already, starting to kind of fade. That was in 2008 when I took over. And Dorothy was right there. If I needed practical advice, if I needed historic information, it was just remarkable, the wealth and depth of understanding that Dorothy had about the church, the organization. And at the same time, she was very supportive of change. She wasn't rigid at all. She had her principles, and she transmitted those principles through her speech and her behavior and her being. And she was a truly creative person and understood change. And I was very shocked when she got ill, because I had been counting on having her around for a very long time, foolishly, of course, you know, not thinking about how finite our time together would be. And I regret, even though our life circumstances would not have really, was not the flow of things, but I regret not being able to spend more time with her. I regret it in a big way, and I'm very sad about it. I loved and respected her, and I loved and respected her mother, Amy Keys, in a very deep way of spiritual communion. And I'm very happy for them to be where they are now. And I'm happy that we are able to be partaking of the things that they so generously gave. They really gave their lives to their families and to this. It was a big project for them. So I'm very, very happy that some of their families here with us on this call, and that we can remember them with joy and honor. I'm putting the talking stick back in the center of the circle now.
Hello, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Well, it's Fred again. And just kind of bring up, talk about memories. My memories are a little different. I grew up as a child in the church. And I used to, in fact, I know Mary Lou's on the line. And her son Jim and I would spend a lot of time together as kids at the church. And we always found trouble. And not on purpose, but we had a lot of good times. We always had a lot of good times. And I had a lot of different, as childhood memories. I mean, just a lot of different ones that I could reflect on and always kind of brings a smile to my face. Him and I spent a lot of time there. So, but, I used to go in the summertime. And one thing I remember, too, is my grandmother. Sometimes I'd slip away with her, and she'd take me to lunch, and we'd swing over to Knott's Berry Farm and hang out for a little while and either do a stagecoach run or drive the train around or something. And so I always had a good time. I used to love going with them, or with my mom, to work, especially in the summer and everything. So, but we had a lot of good time.
I'd just like to say that there might be some people on the call tonight who never met Amy and Dorothy in person. And I want to invite you to share any remembrances that you might have of the energy of Tzaddi or connecting with Tzaddi and what it's meant to you. Please don't feel that it just has to be only about them as individual people. I want to make a space for everyone to share from their heart who wants to speak. So please think about that.
Hi, this is Sally. I'll pick up the stick here. First of all, I want to say that I'm kind of ringing the bell more to give passage of time than actual as a timekeeper. So please don't get caught up on the 5-minute sequencing here. And secondly, I think my introduction to Amy and Dorothy was when I was completing the master's program with Roselight, and Gowden was getting involved with Tzaddi, and I met residing Bishop Miriam Lamb. And a number of fellow students had been out to Colorado to meet with Dorothy and Amy Keyes. And all I heard was wonderful things and how impressed they were about these two women and what amazing visionaries that they were, and how exciting it was to be affiliated with the Church of Tzaddi. And for me, it's been a good affiliation, too, because I've always found religious organizations to be so restrictive. And for me, this has been a fellowship of pure acceptance based on love and about understanding one's divine nature. And I greatly appreciate all that it's given me and allowed me to give out to others. So I'd like to put that sense of love and gratitude into the circle, and I'll put the talking stick in as well.
Hi, welcome.
Hello. Hello.
Hi, Yig. Welcome.
It's Sue, Amy.
Sue.
I've been trying to pick up the talking stick for quite a while, and I kept hitting *6, and no one heard me. So I exited the call and called back in. Anyway, I can't say a lot. I can't hardly speak. I guess all I can at this point do is say ditto, so I won't go any further. I'll give back the talking stick. I'm sorry. I just, as with everyone, it had an incredible, profound effect on me, and it sounds on my vision, and their support was just unbelievable. And I came to them sort of by accident, and not so much by accident, I guess. And I met Bishop Amy in '93 and found her through someone else. I had been looking towards possible ministry, but I wanted a legitimate organization. I wanted, whatever credentials I got to be legitimate, and I wasn't really interested in following a traditional seminary path, and found Bishop Amy and decided to try it, and I was just pretty amazed and overwhelmed by what we did together and what I learned and how I grew. And I can say, like everyone else said, talk about the love and the acceptance and the encouragement, and it was just the most amazing thing. And I'll pass back the talking stick now.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, this is Tiffany. You can hear me?
Loud and clear.
Yeah. This is Tiffany. I'm also one of Dorothy's daughters and Amy's granddaughter. And I just wanted to thank everybody for coming online tonight. It means a lot to my family. and myself, and that we had some wonderful memories growing up in the church and didn't realize that we were unique. We just thought this was completely normal. But I think it's important for everyone to know that they may have been the founders, and they have brought it, but it's everybody that has come forward with us and has been a part of us that is, that's the structure. That Tzaddi wouldn't have existed without any of you also, and I've been so privileged to have met so many of you and have you be a part of my life and to have grown up with you, and which made us who we are today. And it's our hard times, very hard times for us, and but it really means a lot to myself and my family for all of you to be present in this tonight, and I'm sure my grandmother and my mother are just delighted. But again, bless you all, and thank you for being a part of our lives and making this what it is. And again, bless you all and have a happy holiday. Hi, welcome. Just joined us.
Hi, this is Mary Lou again. I'm also was having trouble getting back in. I put myself on mute, but I couldn't unmute myself.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay. I just want to make sure that there's a few things that I wanted to share, and I heard Fred come on and talk about when he was younger, and it was my son and him that used to play at Tzaddi, and we were just talking about that last week. But I would also like to say that when this service first started, I kept hearing Open Door of Love, and I remembered that was Amy and Dorothy's first church in Orange, and when they brought it to Garden Grove, it was Church of Tzaddi. I was fortunate to take classes under Bishop Amy and Bishop Dorothy, and also was blessed to be ordained by them in 1975. And in fact, Dorothy married my husband and I. And my husband just adored, we still call him Dr. Vic. He took a lot of, Leon took a lot of his classes under Dr. Vic. And I remember Fred and Cindy and Rayanne and Tiffany. I mean, it's just wonderful to hear your voice. When you hear people, you don't grow them up in your mind unless you see them. And I still see them sitting in the church, just little kids. And I just thank Bishop Amy and Dorothy for their love and their fortitude. I knew there were times where the church really went through some rough times, and Amy was so strong. I mean, she was so little, but she was mighty. She was a force to be reckoned with when she made up her mind. And I always was in awe of Amy and Dorothy because it was my mother that brought me to Tzaddi, and that was Beverly Marie. And she worked side by side with Amy and Dorothy. And if it hadn't have been for Tzaddi, I just don't even want to imagine where my life would have ended up. But I am so blessed, and I still continue to practice metaphysics. We were able to start a church in Pasadena for a few years, and then everybody basically went different directions, different states. I'm still in contact with a couple of them,
And it is just unbelievable how many lives have been changed through the Church of Tzaddi, through Amy and Dorothy's teachings and love and support. So I just wanted to thank them and know that they are just a beautiful ray of light that are at peace. And I just can't wait to see them in spirit. Thank you.
Are there any other remembrances that you would like to share? If so, please go ahead and step up to the mic. Good. We'll move on then to the closing. I'd like to thank you for joining us for this Spirit Gathering teleconference. The recording of this call will be archived, and there will be a link to it on the Tzaddi website for people who would like to listen in. You'll be able to click on it and download the MP3 file. And those who want to can call in to the playback number. It's also listed on the Tzaddi website. And listen to the phone recording. That'll be in the phone bank for a little while after this call. These calls are hosted by Tzaddi, a spiritual educational organization founded in California in 1964. Tzaddi welcomes, nurtures, and supports people in celebrating and more directly experiencing their relationship with the loving presence of the divine. Our programs are open to people of any race, color, or national or ethnic origin. Please visit www.tzaddi.org, tzaddi.org, to learn more about our work. You can click on payments if you'd like to make a tax-deductible donation. We'll close now with thanks and a blessing. Thanks to Tzaddi founders Amy Keys and Dorothy Blackmere, who started our metaphysical organization. Thanks to all of you who have been a part of our community tonight. And thanks to the divine, who supports us always, even when we're not aware of it. And for our blessing tonight, as we sign off, I wonder if anybody on the call would like to give that blessing to everyone to bless us as we go out.
I'll volunteer.
That would be wonderful.
My name's Thomas, and I'm in Larchmont, New York. May the divine bless you and keep you. May the divine make its face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the divine uplift its countenance with you and give you peace.
Thank you, Thomas. Thank you, Sally, for chiming. Thank you, Topsoil and Thomas and Sue for holding space. Thank you, everybody, for calling in and being a part of this. And thank you all for continuing the work of the divine expressing through you, of God expressing through you in this life. This world needs that expression. And I'm honored and glad that we're in this spiritual community together. Have a beautiful night. Happy holidays. Lots of love.
Happy holidays.